Okay, guys, so I've been waiting to start my podcast until I had 100,000 monthly listeners for it. Yeah, so we'd all still be sitting around waiting for me to start a podcast because how would I have 100,000 followers for my podcast before I even start a podcast? Okay. And where are my 100,000 listeners what are they gonna listen to? Where are those 100,000s of people gonna come listen if I didn't first start something that they could listen to? Do you see what I'm saying here? We cannot wait until we have whatever we want to start, right? We have to start somewhere to get there. You cannot wait till you feel ready, till you feel like you have enough, till you feel like you have whatever to start taking action towards that goal. Because you have to start taking action to get there, okay? But what you can do is you can start showing up today like you have 100,000 listeners. I could show up here with the same energy like I know 100,000 people are listening to this or are going to listen to it eventually. Or I could sit here and say, oh, no one's listening to this yet. I don't have enough listeners. I don't have this. And then I just keep myself in this stuck spiral of never starting something. But what sounds more fun? What sounds like it's actually going to get me closer to my goal? Pretending like I have 100,000 listeners or complaining that I don't and never doing anything about it? Obviously, it's going to be the pretend, the imagination, the creativity, because that will lead me and enable me to actually get to that goal. I have to see it for myself first. I have to decide that can be mine first and start taking action towards. How can you start acting like something even when you don't have it, even when it's not true yet, even when there's no proof in your reality yet? How can you start showing up that way in order to get it, right? Because it's a chicken or the egg situation, and we're very clear that you have to feel this way before your reality can reflect that back to you. So that's what we're going to be diving into today. So let's start by saying welcome to my exclusive podcast and YouTube series. Welcome to my 100,000 listeners out there. I might not have met you yet. You might not have met me yet, but if I didn't claim it first, it would never happen. If I didn't show up like that was a possibility, it would never happen. So welcome. I'm happy you're all here. But really, welcome to my exclusive podcast and YouTube series that is based on my keynote, Going Viral is an Inside Job, where we are diving into all the steps about what it takes to become the person who goes viral, what it takes to become the person who is seen authentically, fully on a viral scale, right? I'm not giving you a strategy on what to post, what hooks to use. No, I'm giving you a strategy to tap into who you are, your authenticity, those hooks that you just, that shows that you are you. That's what we're becoming. We are becoming the person who goes viral. We're not working on a strategy. We are strategizing how to be more of ourselves, okay? Because that is what goes viral. So welcome to it. We are breaking down the paradox of reality because this whole series is all about how you are a celebrity right now. You're a celebrity in your niche, your content, your industry. Fuck it, let's go big or go home. A celebrity in general, okay? This is all about seeing yourself this way now in order for the world to start reflecting what you already know, how you already see yourself back to you. And now a lot of you are going to be like, okay, Kate, well, if I am a celebrity, like if you're instilling all of this value in me, if you're making me see my worth and that I'm already super cool and super great at what I do, that's great. But like, if those things are all true, how come I don't have the followers yet? How come I don't have the clients, the customers, the community, the whatever? How come I don't have those things yet? How come those things aren't already being reflected back to me? If that's true, like if you're saying I am this, where's the proof? What's going on, right? What's happening? So we are going to talk about the paradox of reality and why you might not be seeing that in your reality yet, and why you shouldn't use your current physical surroundings to determine whether or not what we're doing is working. So before we started diving into all this information on who you are, on uncovering a lot of these limiting beliefs, we're about to get into even more about uncovering and dismantling these limiting beliefs around what it takes to go viral, what it takes to be a celebrity, what it takes to be successful in your industry at whatever you're doing. You had these previous limiting beliefs, you had these previous thoughts, narratives that were going saying, oh, I'm just a small creator. Oh, it's going to take me so long to build my community up this much, my followers up this much. It's going to take me forever to get where I want to go. Or, oh, what I do just isn't valuable enough for this many followers, this many people to be interested in what I have to say. I'm not good enough for this. I can't show up authentically. Like my true self isn't worth showing up online. I have to have this like persona that can show up online because nobody finds me interesting, or I'm weird, or I'm this, or I'm that. Like whatever the narrative was that you were telling yourself before we unearthed the things that we've unearthed in this series, the things that we're about to unearth in this series around who you are, what you deserve, how you've always been worthy, how you are a celebrity right now, all of these things, all the other beliefs that were counteracting what we're uncovering throughout this series, those are what's formed the reality you're experiencing right now. Do not look to your surroundings right now for proof of whether or not you're a celebrity, you can go viral, you're gonna be successful, you're gonna whatever. Do not look around you, because reality's on a lag, right? So the reality we're experiencing right now is a reflection of the beliefs, the thoughts, the narratives we've been telling ourselves, we've been living in for the last however many years, however many months, whatever we've been telling ourselves on repeat is what we're seeing in physical form around us right now. And so now when we're going through this series, when we're unearthing and dismantling these limiting beliefs, and we're instilling this new value, this new knowledge, we can sit here and be like, okay, yeah, like I know I'm a celebrity, I know I'm worth this, I know I'm gonna, have the followers, I'm gonna have the success, but it's not happening right now. That's normal, right? Because again, our reality right now is a reflection of the beliefs and thoughts that we've held for the last whatever period of time. And now that we are filling in new beliefs, new knowledge, well, we have to hold that for reality to reflect it back to us. So you do not look around you for proof of whether or not what you want is happening. You know that if you hold these beliefs long enough, that reality will inevitably start reflecting them back to you. So the paradox of reality, you need to start showing up and acting like you're a celebrity, like you have this many followers, like you have this much success in your business, this many clients, this many customers, this big of a community. You need to start acting like that, showing up like that in order for the world to see it. It is not going to be, okay, I'm going to sit around and I'm going to wait till the followers come, and I'm going to wait till the clients come, wait till the money, the success, the whatever comes, and then I'll feel that way. No, it is you feel that way first, and then reality reflects that back to you. And a lot of us get this mistaken. We are looking for that external validation. We are looking for those things outside of us to prove, okay, is this likely? Can I feel safe in expecting this? Can I move forward believing this, seeing myself this way? Or am I going to look stupid if I'm walking around in public filming myself like I'm an influencer with millions of followers, and someone goes to my account and I have 500, and then people are going to be like, is that going to be embarrassing for me? Or how do I know this is going to work to where I won't feel stupid for acting like this, or I won't feel disappointed for trusting myself and showing up like this and acting like this when I don't have it yet? And my biggest piece of advice is that you cannot rely on external validation. You cannot rely on your current reality to prove what you want to be true. You cannot rely on your current reality to fuel these beliefs or the likelihood, or to look around you in your current reality and say, is it likely for me to go viral? Is it likely based on all my past videos that I'm going to do well in this video? What is most likely based on what's around me? You cannot look to what's around you right now to determine where you're going to go, to determine what's possible for you. So here's the mistake that a lot of us make. We all do this in every area of our life, because it's our brain trying to keep us safe. It's our brain trying to predict what's going to come so that it can best, protect us from discomfort or harm or whatever, is that our brain looks to the past. In every area of our life, we do this. It looks to the past and says, okay, what happened last time I tried to do this? So now I'm going to focus on what happened last time, and the only moment that we create from is the present moment. The only moment that creates our reality is the present moment. But we make this mistake of, in the present moment, focusing on what happened in the past. So we're creating from the present moment, but now we're pulling in experience from the past. So, okay, the last time I posted a video, it didn't do well, it flopped, it didn't go well. So now we're in the present moment creating the future moment, but we are focused on the past. We are in the present moment creating, but what we're pulling into the present moment is the past. So we're creating the future by pulling in the past into the present moment. We're taking the past and projecting it onto the future. Our brain is using what happened in the past to predict what's going to happen in the future, but we know that our mind, our focus, our belief creates our reality. So if we are always assuming that whatever happened in the past is going to happen in the future, well, that's why we just keep creating more and more of the same thing, and then sitting here and being like, see, I knew this was going to happen. See, I knew this always goes this way. But it's not that that always happens to you. It's not that that's always how it goes. It's not that that's the only way it can go. It simply means that that's what you keep pulling into this moment to create the future. That's what you keep focusing on. That's what you keep assuming is going to happen. You keep assuming, oh, well, I don't really get that many followers. Oh, well, my posts don't really do that well. Oh, well, my posts don't really convert that well. And that's what you are projecting onto every post that you're going to post from here on out. So to interrupt this cycle, what I want you to do is understand that your current reality, because our brain, again, it's going to look to our current reality. It's going to look at what's happened to us before and say, okay, based on what I'm seeing right now, based on what I've seen in the past, what is the likelihood that I go viral? What is the likelihood that this post does well? What is the likelihood that someone likes what I have to say? And it's going to say, well, I don't have that many followers right now. I don't have that many likes on a post right now. So likelihood probably isn't very high. But what you need to start telling yourself is recognizing that what you're looking for around you, this current reality that you are looking to for the likelihood of what your future reality is going to look like, this was created from those past beliefs. This was created from old narratives where you didn't know, oh, if I change my focus, I could get more followers. Oh, if I start seeing myself as someone who's worth this, then I could get a different result. Oh, if I start believing that what I say is valuable, then other people are going to see what I say is valuable. Your current reality is created from past beliefs. So if you recognize and tell yourself and give your brain this logic that, okay, hey, what we're experiencing right now is created from past beliefs. So if I give myself different beliefs right now, if I interrupt these beliefs that I'm trying to keep recycling over and over again, if I interrupt that cycle of projecting the past onto the future and say, okay, what would I rather believe? What do I want to believe instead? Do I want to believe that people value what I say? Do I want to believe that I can easily go viral? Do I want to believe that I have hundreds of thousands of followers? If I switch those beliefs and I change the input that I'm putting into my mind and my reality, then I can safely expect a new reality to be created from that, right? The only reason why the same thing gets repeated over and over again is because we keep pulling in the same beliefs, the same experience, the same past thoughts, behaviors, expectations. But if we interrupt that cycle and say, hey, if you start thinking differently, if you start giving yourself a different input, it is safe to expect a different output. That is how reality creation works. And our brain doesn't want to do this because it's like, oh, well, I might be disappointed. Oh, well, it might not work. Oh, well, people might make fun of me. People might think differently of me. You need to know that if you give yourself a different input right now, different input being beliefs, thoughts, feelings, actions, you are safe to expect a different output. And I emphasize saying you are safe to expect a different output because our brain doesn't want to be disappointed. It doesn't want to be let down. So it thinks, oh my gosh, if I get my hopes up, if I expect something different, I'm going to get hurt. But it is safe to expect a different outcome when you are giving yourself a different input. So when you sit here and you say, okay, Kate, well, like, how am I supposed to walk around like I'm a celebrity, like I have all these followers, all this success, all of this money, all of these whatever, when my reality literally has zero proof of this, like literally zero proof. How do I do that? If I am all of these things, how come I have zero proof of it right now? Like, I want to believe you, I want to trust my value, but if I am those things, how come nothing in my reality is telling me or validating that this is true about me? And my answer, plain and simple, is because you forgot all these things. You forgot you already are a celebrity. You forgot you already have the followers. You already have the success. You forgot that you are already worth all of these things, that you can already have all of these things. Because, again, of those past experiences, of these beliefs that were formed from when you were a kid up until now, that were saying, you know, this doesn't happen for you. This doesn't work for you. This isn't going to ever, be yours. Whatever those beliefs were that have piled on to create this narrative for you that says, I can't have this, I'm not this person. You simply forgot that you are worthy of this. You are this person. You can have these things. You forgot. You're not becoming someone new. You're not learning a new skill. You're not unlocking something within you. All we're doing in this entire series is remembering that you are already worth these things, that you can already have, that you do already have these things. There's a version of you out there that already has these things that's waiting for you to tap into that consciousness, to tap into that version of yourself, those beliefs, those actions, those feelings. That's all it is. Your current reality is a reflection of when you forgot all of these things about yourself. Your current reality is a reflection of not knowing that you can have all these things. So do not look around you and say, is this likely? Is this possible? What's going to happen here? Where's the proof? Because what you're seeing right now is a reflection. Reality's on a lag. So the reality we're experiencing right now is still a reflection of those old beliefs. After everything that we instill throughout this series, now you can say, I'm giving myself a different input. I know differently now. I'm showing up differently now. I know better now. I know things. I remembered things about myself and what I'm capable of. So it's safe for me to expect a different outcome. Even if nothing around me is reflecting this right now, I know that if I hold these beliefs, these feelings, that my reality will have to shift and have to reflect these new stories that I'm telling myself back to me. This reality where we don't have these things reflected back to us, you didn't know that you could expect these things. You didn't know the power your mind held in creating your reality. You didn't know that you could say, I want this and I can have it, and that's just how reality works. You didn't know these things. But now that you do, now that you're learning these things, now that that's going to be your input, that you're remembering these things, you can expect, now that you're learning, identifying as feeling different ways, you can expect to get a different outcome. So the biggest takeaway here is that most people wait until they have the external result to feel like, oh, I can show up like I have 100,000 listeners. Oh, I can show up like I have millions of followers. Oh, I can finally act this way because I have this much money, or whatever it is. People wait to say, okay, I can show up this way now because I have the proof in my reality. We always want the proof outside of us first, because then there's less risk in looking stupid. There's less risk to our ego. Our mind just feels better about it. But the truth is that the people who get those things, that get the followers, that get the money, that get the success, it's because they allowed themselves to show up that way before they had it. Before the world reflected it back to them, they decided to show up that way. And each of these episodes is helping you show up that way before the world reflects it back to you. It's easy for us to look at the people who already are successful and think, oh, well, they've always been like this, or oh, well, they got chosen, there was something, they just got lucky with this. But you have to look at Alex Earle. She posted videos where before she had the following she did now, she missed out on trips. She was in the mindset of I really want to be an influencer, and she wasn't afraid to admit that and act like that before any of the world reflected it back to her. You look at all these celebrities and artists, they all saw these things for themselves before the world ever reflected it back to them. And the only reason they have the success that they do now is because they were so hyper fixated and so embodied in who they were going to be, who they knew they were meant to be, who they knew they were going to be, that the world had no choice but to catch up and reflect that back to them. But that came first. It's easy to say, oh, well, they got famous and then they started, showing up this way. No. They, I promise you, had it locked in their mind that they were going to be famous before the world ever reflected it back to them. Think about Kim Kardashian, the story where she went into the hotel that Britney Spears was staying in just to hide in the bathroom for 10 minutes because she wanted the paparazzi to think she was going to visit Britney, and then that's what was in the headlines the next day. She was not visiting Britney. She wasn't famous yet. She wasn't at that level that she's at now yet. But she saw herself as someone that deserved headlines. She saw herself as someone that could show up that way, that could be perceived that way. And that's why she is now. People get it mixed up where it's oh, well, once I get the validation, once I see the results, once I see the proof, then I can show up this way. No, it is always going to be, I decided to see myself this way now. I decided to see myself as this being possible for me. And when I acted like that was true, I felt like that was true, I saw that as true, then the world reflected it back to me. So do not look to your current reality to say, is this happening yet? Because reality's on a lag. You have to see it for yourself first. You have to hold it for yourself first. Unwaveringly hold it for yourself first, no matter what's being reflected around you. And if you move, feel, believe like that is your reality, the world has no choice but to reflect that back to you. Know that as long as you believe it will happen for you, regardless of any proof, simply because you want it and you see it as possible for yourself, it will happen. But if you're sitting around waiting for the results, waiting for the proof, waiting for the validation to come before you start, that would be like me waiting to start my podcast until I had 100,000 monthly listeners. And how am I going to get 100,000 monthly listeners if I didn't start creating something for them to listen to? How are you going to get the clients if you don't first see yourself as someone valuable enough to offer services, right? We think we need these things outside of us to prove these things on a grand scale. But when we look at simple things like listeners in podcasts or followers in social media or clients in a service, it's like, well, yeah, obviously I had to see myself as someone who could post on social media first. Obviously I had to see myself as someone who started a podcast first. Obviously I had to see myself as someone who started a business and offering first. And in that sense, it makes sense. If I didn't start posting, if I didn't start creating videos, if I didn't start the business, of course, where are my followers, listeners, customers, clients going to come from? But when we get to these more abstract goals like fame, success, like following, whatever, we think that we need that proof to come in before we can act that way. But it's still the same thing. If you are not energetically showing up and believing like you are someone who can do these things, who can have these things, the world can't reflect that back to you. The world is a mirror. Is a mirror ever going to move before you move your hand? No. This is how everything works. So we needed to review how reality creation works, how all of these things are going to contribute to our success, to becoming the person who's successful, and not to the person who's gonna post this hook and get one, reel that pops off or one thing that converts. No, this is building longevity, vision, legacy, success. This is how you create a reality where you have everything you want, where you are the level you want to be at, and there is no limit to where you can go because you know how reality works. You have the tools to continue embodying and up-leveling yourself. All of these things that we're learning, yes, you can apply to whatever your goal is right now, but at every level you go through, you just take your new goal and you implement it into these strategies, into this tool. But at every new level you go to, you just take that goal and you plug it in to these same pieces. Once you learn how to upgrade your identity, how to become the person who has what you want, you can do that with every single thing that you want. When you understand how reality works, when you understand that nothing around you is proof or dictating the odds of how likely something is to happen, and you know how to wire yourself, how to see yourself as the person who has what you want, every single time you have a new goal, you have a new level you want to get to, you know how to upgrade your identity to get there. So now that we know how reality creation works, that we started to get into what our goals are, what the identity we want to embody is, and how it's going to work and be reflected in reality, now we get to get into the fun part of implementing it, becoming it, doing it, seeing it in ourselves and our content. So before we move to the next episode, I want you to get your journal out. If you don't already have the journal that corresponds with this series, the link will always be in the episode notes below. But I want you to ask yourself, how would you start showing up if you had what you wanted? If you had this many podcast listeners, would you be posting a podcast every week, every day? If you knew 100,000 people were expecting something from you every week, would you be more disciplined to show up every week and post the podcast? Versus if you're like, well, no one's really listening anyway, so if I slack off this week or if I miss an episode, it's not that big a deal. You need to start taking action like the version of you who has what you want. If you had 1 million followers on TikTok or Instagram or whatever, would you be posting every day? Would you be showing up oh my gosh, all my friends are waiting for me. I've built this community. I have to show up for these people. They value what I have to say. So let me go just be myself and post this video of me talking about what I have to say today because all these people are waiting to hear what I have to say. How would you be acting? How would you be showing up? What would you be doing differently if you had what you wanted? If you had hit one of your goals with social media, or if you had the level of success you were looking for right now, if you had the fame, whatever it is, how would you be showing up? And I need you to start showing up that way now because sure, you might not have 100,000 listeners on your podcast yet. I might not have 100,000 listeners on my podcast yet, but if I don't start showing up like I do, How is that ever going to happen? If you have a goal and you can't press a button and say, okay, my follower count is this, my posts all get this much, my podcast listeners are this. If you can't change that right now, what you can change is how you show up, because you can start showing up like that's true. You can start acting like that's true. Regardless of if it's reflected back to you or not, you can start showing up like it is true right now. That is in your control. When you start showing up like that's true, then that's when what you want actually changes. That's when the universe says, okay, you are going to show up every day for these people. You do trust yourself to have these things, to, have this many people with eyes on you. Okay, great. Now you can have that. Now that you trust yourself to do this consistently, here's the result that you actually wanted. But you have to see that for yourself. You have to trust yourself with that. You have to show yourself that that's who you are first. Before the world will ever reflect it back to you, you have to see it for yourself. So just write down one thing, one action that you can start doing now that would align with the version of you who has what you want. If you had the followers, if you had the clients, if you had the success, the whatever, the community, the listeners, the customers, what would you be doing every single day that aligns with having what you want? Write that down, and I will see you in the next episode. In tomorrow's episode, we are going to be breaking down the difference between what you do and who you are, so that you can consistently take this action and consistently see yourself as the version of you who has what you want, so that the world has no choice but to reflect it back.